Altcoins are being savaged. Prices have been devastated and then devastated again. So it's time to bail from those altcoin positions, right? Why not just throw everything into Bitcoin? Well, today we're going to talk about that. There is one saying in investing that is more important than any other saying in all of investing history. It's simply this: to make money in investing, you have to buy low and sell high. Now, this is the number one rule of investing, yet so many don't take that advice. They sell low because they are scared it will go to zero. And this almost always ends poorly, but not always, almost always. Today, let's look and see if this is perhaps really the time to be selling altcoins low, and if it would actually make sense, or if this is just another one of those times that you're selling into some fear. And the market turns right back around on you, and we will look at some historical perspective to give us some perspective on, is it really a good time to be scared, or is it time to be loading the boats? Welcome to the Crypto Rain channel and our family. Now, if you, like me, came into crypto because you realize there's potential here for life-changing gains over a greater 4 to 8 year period, let's be real. Everyone thinks they're going to get rich in 2 months here, and you're overestimating what you'll do in the short term, and you're massively underestimating what you can do in the long term if you do things right. So if you're looking for a discussion on becoming that solid, unshakable crypto investor that is doing things right, well, you're in exactly the right place and with the right family, the Rainmaker family. Now, the reason I created this YouTube channel is I'm not a YouTuber. I am an investor myself. But I was once new to crypto 7, almost 8 years ago. And back then I was looking for a crypto YouTube channel and a network or group that understood crypto as an investment and discussed the most important things like the investment cycle. There's a 4-year investment cycle in crypto. And so far, since 2013, it's played out every 4 years. That is the most important discussion to have. And then specific investments relative to that, like specific projects, the pros and cons of those projects, the risks of those projects, and the guesses upside if it comes together well. And I didn't find that in the way that I was looking for it, so we created it. And I say we because it's not just me. It's a family of rainmakers, and you'll see them here in the chat. You will see some in our free Telegram group. Because that is free, scammers also join that all the time, so be wary. Crypto is full of scammers. There's a link to our Telegram group below. The very best discussion is if you join a private Patreon group that allows you access to the Rainmaker private Discord. Rainmaker private Discord, which you have to join the Patreon to get access to. Patreon's a gateway to that. This is where the best discussion and best info is, and the easiest way to have conversation with not only me, but the Rainmaker family. There are very many other benefits too that I don't frequently talk about here that are massively beneficial to those that are serious about this. Do note, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a crypto investor myself. Huge shout out to our strategic partners, both OneChain and Definity. If you join us on our Friday live streams, I often have free tokens to give away on those. We do the Friday live streams once a month, and strategic partners give us tokens to give away on those. If you follow their Twitters, that is the best way to keep updated so you can be the first to answer those questions and win the giveaways. So make it rain on that like button. Strap in for the show and let's talk about it. Let's take a look at Bitcoin back in 20 and 21 for some perspective. Kevin Hawthorne saying, good evening from Lakeland, Florida. Good to see you here. Buy when there's blood in the streets. I love it, Sale. Even when it's our own blood, which if you've been doing the right things, then you're probably already allocated in crypto, and it feels rough. All right, Proverbs 13:11, wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. I gathered Devi little by little, and it increased. I like it. Yes, Rain, shout out from Manchester, UK. Great to have you here all the way from Manchester. All right, let's look at the charts because we want to go back for some historical perspective. Now, this is 2020 leading into 2021. As you can see here during the bear market, Bitcoin did this big run up almost to 14,000. Then it came back and got savaged here. And it started this low climb, and it was climbing, and altcoins were doing almost Nothing. So we're going to mark this date, the 31st of December 2020. Remember, so far, the way the pattern has played out, every 4 years, crypto goes crazy. The year after the Bitcoin halving. So the first halving being in 2012. The year after that was 2013. We had a massive crypto run in 2013. The next halving was 2016. And in 2017, again, we had a massive crypto run in 2017. The next halving after that was 2020. And in 2021, wouldn't you know it, we had another massive bull run. But in January of 2021, everyone was saying, dump your alts. Alts, there's not going to be an alt season. It's just Bitcoin, because Bitcoin was going up and alts weren't. And so we're going to mark this point here of December 31st, right at this change, right? So Bitcoin had gone to $30,000, well above its previous high of $20,000. In fact, it was 50% above its previous high. So it hit almost $20,000. It was now at $30,000, and people were saying, Bitcoin all the way. Let me ask you, what position do we presently find ourselves in? Well, shoot, the previous high during that bull run was about 70,000. Ric Flair vibes. Ryan, good to see you. Yeah, I got my red shirt on because we got blood in the streets. It was the perfect color for today's show. Blood in the altcoin street. So notice that Bitcoin is floating about 50% above what its previous high was. So it's about 70,000. And Bitcoin has been going up around 105,000 back down to 97,000. So really not very different from what was happening back here right at the change of the year. So the change of the year, that's where things were. Now, a very important chart is this next chart we're going to look at, which is Bitcoin dominance. And we're going to go back to 2021, and we're going to look at December 31st. Oh my gosh, look at this. Bitcoin dominance was going crazy December 31st. In fact, it continued to climb all the way till the 3rd of January. And even in this time, people were saying altcoins are never going to run, even through this whole period here. So even when Bitcoin went back down, it was trading around these levels when the dominance went back down, and people were saying, oh yeah, it's just going to continue. It's going to break to the upside. So all the way through this time, Bitcoin continued to run, and people were saying, no altcoin season, it's not going to happen. So Bitcoin went up all the way through. It looks like it peaked the 15th of April. So 15th of April, it peaked at 65,000. Now it later came back and broke that just barely to 70,000, but 65,000 was almost the high for the whole cycle. It later bumped above that just a little bit with the metaverse run caused by Facebook changing their name to Meta and really bringing a lot of attention to the metaverse. But the peak was here. So look, Bitcoin even, oh, here we go. The peak was here. Bitcoin even continued up from this 30,000 all the way to 65,000. So you could have 2x'd your gains in Bitcoin had you just rolled everything into Bitcoin and been like, you know what, I'm done with these altcoins. So you might have been selling your altcoins at a loss, rolling into Bitcoin, so you could make a whopping 2x. I don't know about you, but I didn't come to crypto to be making a 2x every 4 years. But yet, that's what some people did. And it was devastating for them because they missed out on this amazing period here where dominance really started to fall. It slowed down, and then it just dropped off a cliff. Now, part of it was Bitcoin eventually started to decrease, as we saw from its peak here. But a big part of it was other things happen. Well, I love you. I love golf. I do accept requests, but only requests made very, very nicely and not given as instructions. All right. So look how Bitcoin dominance fell off solidly all the way down to here. So let's take a look at some things that were happening. Let's look at some altcoins broken down by sector. So first of all, we're going to look at the first sector we're going to look at is Aave. We're going to see what was happening with the DeFi sector on Aave. And we'll look at their timing. So Aave didn't have very much going on here. I take that back. They had some things going on. And we don't have a full chart of Aave because this is just Aave on Binance. But it has the most important thing we want to look at is what was the price at the turn of the year. And that was about 80 bucks. What did it later peak at? Well, 581. Now, Aave was a blue chip, and I don't do a lot of blue chips, and it was a blue chip at this point. The truth is, where you made your massive gains, if you were buying Aave at like $1 before June of 2020, Aave was much, much cheaper than that. It had a big boom there. Became a blue chip after DeFi summer and was still trading up here. So we're looking at, even in November, it's all the way here at $26. But at the change of the year, and even into January, a lot of people were saying alts are never going to run. So it did run up a little bit from this $87 price, went up to $112. But the major boom came really mid-January into February. So we saw DeFi, or at least one of the blue chips, really start to make its gains. In fact, I want you to notice. So this was a blue chip, and it made its gains from January into February, and then just barely exceeded that high later. But it hit its high pretty early compared to some other things. Let's look at another big runner that happened that year, and that is OMI. Let's see if we can find an OMI chart that really shows this. We may not be able to because some of them don't go back far enough. Let's see. Okay. We're going to have to go to, I hate to do this, but we're going to have to look at CoinGecko. We just can't see it as well on CoinGecko, unfortunately. But we can see that they didn't really even start to have their run till well after. Remember, during this time, if you're to go back to crypto Twitter in December and January, December of 2020, January 2021, everyone was saying there wasn't going to be an alt season. Not everyone. The majority of voices were. And that was becoming the consensus opinion, much like a lot of people are saying now. But just because they're saying that doesn't mean they know what they're talking about. Definitely does not mean that they're right. In fact, that should be music to your ears that you're in the right place. Altcoins have been punished both when Trump coin launched and then Melania coin, and a lot of liquidity in higher risk alts got sucked into those. And then recently, as some panic about a trade war across the world going on, alts dumped even more. And so prices are on heavy discount right now. And I don't know, seems like shopping time to me. Seems like this is exactly the period where you're looking to buy low so that you can sell high. And despite some people saying altcoin season is not going to happen this time, they said that last time, right before it did. And I'll show you. Through January, many people were saying, you know what, altcoin season's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And you could look at coins like OMI, which is in the digital collectibles narrative, and it was one of the biggest runners last cycle. But notice it wasn't even until early February that it started to run, and it ran tremendously. Now, I don't know if it's going to be February that these alts really kick off this time. I don't know if it's March. I don't know. Maybe it's even later in the year, like July. I do know when prices get really low like this, it's an attractive time to buy. And I seriously doubt anyone saying there's not going to be a massive alt season is right. Now, one of the excuses that people use as to why there won't be an alt season is there's too many coins out there these days, and just it makes the liquidity diffused in so many different coins that it's not going to happen. Just understand they made that argument the last time, and they were wrong on that the last time too. Yes, there are way more tokens now than there were before. A bunch of them are complete junk. Even more, as a higher percentage than last time, are just complete junk, scams, or meme coins. Like, there's been a meme coin craze. And most of those are pretty dead already, even though we've had this massive meme coin run earlier this season. Most of those meme coins are pretty much dead. And we haven't had a really defined substantive run into the higher risk altcoins. And that comes every 4 years. And that's what we're looking for. Another place that we can look at is, when did blockchain gaming run? So let's look at Axie Infinity as the big winner last cycle for the blockchain gaming run. And let's just look at when it really started to run. Oh my gosh. So we're looking back at this timeline, and let's just give us a little bit better chart that's less diluted by other information. And so we're looking here at December 15th, December 31st. Axie Infinity was trading at 60 cents on January 1st, 2021. So February, wow, it had gone up just after early February. It went from 99 cents on February 7th to $1.38 a week later. And okay, so it went to about $2 by February 14th. That's awesome. And into March, it went all the way to $5.51. Now, that's not bad. That's 10x gains. That's pretty good. Then a little bit later, it went all the way to over $10. That's incredible, from 50 cents, which means it had a 20x gain into April. This was the early alt season. So blockchain gaming really saw, the main player in blockchain gaming really only saw a 20x going into one of the biggest booms of 2021. But then later, when we had the metaverse narrative, which really rolled into blockchain gaming as well, later that year is when you saw your big gains. So it went all the way to $10, and then just note this pullback going all the way back down to $3.50 right there. But then later went all the way to $160. In fact, it went all the way to like $200 ever so briefly, even though the chart doesn't reflect it here. So just note that people were saying no altcoin season isn't going to happen, even though some of the blue chips had run some. But these higher risk ones like Ecomi and Axie Infinity, they're never going to have an altcoin season in 2021, and they couldn't have been more wrong. In fact, a lot of those higher risk tokens did incredibly well, just came a little bit later than what people were thinking. I love golf. Ask pretty please. I will consider it. I love golf. The Lakers trade shocked the markets. That's what cost it. Yeah, the Lakers picking up, I guess, Luka, right? I don't follow U.S. basketball all that much, just briefly, but I know who Luka is. That'll be interesting, him and LeBron playing on the same team. Do I like Spores Network? Yes, I think it's probably the most undervalued launchpad out there right now. I do own a lot of Spores Network, and I believe that they're massively undervalued right now. Is it possible alts never have a bull run? Yes. So in investing, we're not dealing with certainties. If you're looking for certainty, there is no certainty in the world other than death and taxes, right? Those are the only two certainties in the world. So we're not dealing with certainties. We're dealing with probabilities. There is a possibility that alts never run. It's just the possibility is really, really small percent chance. So I play the odds that are massively stacked in my favor. And the odds are massively stacked in my favor that there is an altcoin season this year of substantive alts. And they haven't run yet. So every cycle since even 2013 cycle had some substantive alts like XRP. 2017 had more substantive alts, and it had its own altcoin season that really popped. Bitcoin really exploded into December, and some of these, like November, December, and some of these alts popped a little bit earlier, like July, August, September, and then came down and really had their big explosion in December of 2017, and then January, February, and some of them exploding into March and April of the following year in 2018. In 2021, we saw the explosion for most of the alts, especially the riskier alts, not happen till mid-February to March, where they exploded. And some of them, like you saw with Axie Infinity, didn't really have its explosion till later in the year after July. July 1st was kind of a bottom for a lot of things, and that's when the second run really started to kick off. And you see blockchain gaming really impacted it. Another one to look at is Sandbox. Sandbox had a really low utility token. And so a lot of people said Sandbox's token was worthless because there's hardly any utility to it. The only thing you can do with it is buy some things on the Sandbox marketplace, but you could also use ETH to buy those things. So why do you even need the Sandbox token? You don't need it. And because there's no utility, it probably won't do very well. That's what I was thinking too, because I thought utility was king, and I realized utility isn't king. Being the token associated with the narrative running is the most important factor. But you see that through January, it was trading at 3.5 cents. So as Bitcoin was going up, nothing was happening here. So to this point, let's go here. Here we are in October, November, December. Nothing is going on with these alts. And then mid-January, still not much. A little bit of a price increase from 5 cents up to 10 cents on Sandbox. But the bigger explosion really started to happen in February and then March taking it all the way to 80 cents. So, oh, that's exciting, all the way to 80 cents. But then you see later in the year when this whole metaverse narrative hit, Sandbox later went from its highs here of 82 cents. And it went all the way to 751, another 9x on where it was. So if you had been scared by all the people running around saying no altcoin season was going to happen, you could have sold your Sand token at, say, 5 cents, sold it into Bitcoin, and maybe got, depending on the timing of when you did that, maybe you sold into Bitcoin, you got like a 2x under Bitcoin. And you would have missed out the run up from, say, 4 cents all the way to almost $8. So almost a 200x gain there. Was going with ETH and Doge, huge drop. What's going on with ETH and Doge, huge drop? So ETH, I think, will still have a run, and the fact that everyone's fudding on it probably means it's undervalued. I don't hold a lot of ETH because it's just not going to have as interesting of a run as other stuff I'm in. But I like things that are being fudded like crazy, and ETH is running back in. It broke to the upside of this and came back into this area here. ETH might go to something like $10,000 or $15,000 or $20,000, which isn't really high multiples from here. So that's why I'm not holding a lot of ETH. A lot of people are making the argument why ETH is dead and SUI is the new thing, or some of these other layer ones are the new thing. That could be the case, but ETH has so much use. So many people are using it, so much adoption. No, it's not the best technology out there, but it's one of the most used technologies, and so much is on it, not only on the layer 2s on top of it, but on ETH itself. And so ETH is not going away this cycle. Maybe long term it loses steam and eventually isn't as relevant, but it's still massively relevant, and people are undervaluing it, right? So you could have bought Solana at $7 a year and a half ago, and people were saying Solana was dead and nobody was going to use it, and it kept failing too much. And the pendulum swung way too far to the cheap side. But when it swung so far to the cheap side, you would have been scared as hell to buy it because the major players were saying, oh, Solana's dead. It's never going to come back from here. And they were just wrong. A lot of people making the argument that ETH is dead. It's never going to come back from here. And they're just wrong again. Notice how often these quote unquote experts are just wrong on these things. That's what it looks like when a price is being savaged and it's a good deal, is that people are saying, oh, it's never going to come back from here. You know, they're just wrong on that. ETH is going to recover. Am I holding ETH? No, not big enough gains. Too high of a market cap. Not interesting to me. Doge, I don't do meme coins. If I were to do meme coins, maybe Doge would be interesting to me, but I don't do meme coins. Now, the time to buy Doge was way back when it was under 10 cents here. It now went to 50 cents and has pulled back. Do I think Doge still performs better than this in the bull market? Yeah, I believe it does. I believe it at least goes to its previous highs of like 75, 73 cents, 72 cents, even breaking probably above them. So, but is that interesting to me? Well, its previous highs are 3x from here. Maybe it breaks out above that and it does, a 3x from there. So from here, that's a total of 9x. If it does that, that's not an interesting play to me. I'm in higher risk stuff that I hope massively outperform that. I don't do meme coins because the predictability is too low. Dogecoin would be dead if Elon Musk hadn't kind of adopted it as his pet project. And so really the predictability has to do with how much Elon Musk is tweeting about Doge, which otherwise probably wouldn't have even survived. Interesting post from who is mean regarding Coinbase and Binance regarding their involvement with the market makers. Any take on? I'd have to see what you're talking about, Justin. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Josh Rodriguez, I add every month until it flies. I like this. That is exactly the way to go. I mean, that's what I did back in the bear market of 2018, 2019, 2020, and even early 2021 before everything went crazy. I was still adding in, just waiting for it to fly, and it worked out really good for me. How low can ADA and ETH go? Well, if you have a magic crystal ball, let me borrow it so I can tell you exactly how low it can go. Look, it's probably not going to go below this 23 cents that it went when I said ADA was massively undervalued. I think ADA still has a very big future from here. If U.S. President Trump is able to get American crypto projects to have no capital gains, Cardano could go 10x, maybe 20x, maybe 30x from here. Will that happen? I don't know. He has to get Congress, the House and Senate on board to pass that. I don't think the U.S. president has enough power to do that unilaterally. So he has to get a bill through Congress to do that. And I don't know. I do think generally both parties now want to be seen as crypto friendly. I don't know if they can do it. ETH, ETH can do maybe a 10x from here. How much lower can they go from here? I don't know. I don't think Cardano goes below these lows at 32 cents. I don't know what happens from here. I imagine it's put its lows in, that there's this resistance and it probably won't break below this, but I don't know. I don't do the day trading stuff anymore. I tried that in 2020 and I found you don't need to make massive wealth in crypto. A better strategy is dollar cost averaging during a bear market and then dollar cost averaging out when everybody's FOMOing into crypto, and that works. I further narrowed it down to I like projects during the bear market that are 1 or preferably 2 years old all the way to 6 years old, but they still hopefully fall in that small cap category, that they have a hardworking team that's still continuing to work, but their token price has been savaged by the bear market combined with token investing, squeezing the price really, really far down, because in order to make money in crypto, you got to buy low. When you're buying low, it's actually really scary to buy, and most people are telling you you're crazy. That's why you're using research to make sure that they're still alive. They hopefully have enough cash reserves to make it into the bull market. that they have a narrative that is strong enough that can garner some attention during an altcoin run, and then you're stacking the odds in your favor with good research. What about OMI? Well, OMI is dead. So many people are telling me, even Paul Barron called it dead a while back. So OMI must be dead if Paul Barron said so, because Paul Barron must have a magic crystal ball if he made such a bold statement that OMI must be dead, except Paul Barron is just wrong. He doesn't know what he's talking about with OMI. He's not correct at all. OMI is just really, really underpriced right now. But OMI has plenty of money to continue, like the VV and the company associated with OMI. OMI is the token associated with the VV app, which has some of the best digital collectibles out there. And VV as a company is doing just fine. So why is OMI going to die? Well, I've yet to hear a well-articulated case as to why OMI will actually die, especially when it's one of the few crypto projects out there that has ongoing incoming revenues because they're digital collectible sales. They have some of the best intellectual property for digital collectibles out there, like Marvel's brand, Marvel Comics, adding some more comics into their ecosystem. In addition to Marvel, they have lots of digital collectibles that are cool. And I think digital collectibles is a major narrative for this bull run. And OMI's well positioned for it. They're just undervalued right now. Sometimes the pendulum swings too far each way. And you saw that OMI's price swung really, really cheap last time. And then it swung really, really high. When the pendulum swings too far to the upside, well, it's going to backtrack and it's going to swing too far to the downside. Now, I've been following OMI really deeply. I didn't think OMI would get this cheap. And sometimes that happens. When I was buying Cardano, I started buying at 11 cents. If I knew it would bottom much lower than that, I would have started buying it much lower than that. But you don't know where the bottom is. So I just dollar cost average starting at 11 cents and continued dollar cost averaging. And the true bottom was later learned was 1.7 cents. So I was able to majorly load the boats at 3 cents, which brought my dollar cost average down a lot. And the price then went over 100x from there, going to like $3.40. So Cardano ended up being a great investment for me back in the 2020 and 2019, 2020 bear market. And 2021 made incredible gains with Cardano. Justin B. Mentalogger in Discord prepping. Take a look after the show. Yeah, I can do that. I have it, but it's not working, says Nab. You have what, but what's not working? What price do you think Copi will get to? Great question. I do think Copi's an extremely attractive price right now. So I think probably the low on Copi is in this little red candle that has people completely freaked out. I think 2 cents is an absolutely phenomenal price. If you look at a chart that has more history on Copi, you'll find that we're right near some lows. It actually went to 0.1 cents here, but it hasn't been that cheap since 2022. And here it went to 2 cents. It's a little bit below that. I think it's an absolute incredible price at this. Market cap's just 20 million on this. The fully diluted valuation is 76 million. I think Cornucopias, when either blockchain gaming really, really hits or the metaverse hits, I think this plays well in either of those very well. So probably, I don't think it's going to get much cheaper than this, but it could. 33 to 35% chance. It just continues to go down from here. I'd say the odds are that it goes up from here. And even if it goes down further from here, 2 cents is an absolute amazing price for it. Where does it go on the upside? Probably its market cap could go to $1 billion, maybe $10 billion, depending on how much traction the game gets. So that's a 50x to 500x from here. And that's where I base this for myself, what I think is a good price. Whether it is for you, that when I say do your own research, I mean that, so that you can make your own decisions and then own how those decisions go. I don't tell you what to do. I just tell you what I think about it for my own buying and selling, and what I think is incredible price, and more importantly, why I think it's incredible price. Oh, Namhash says, I have a crystal ball, but it's not working. What's the reason alts are lagging behind this cycle? I don't know, Trump coin. People sell into red candles and they chase green candles, and it doesn't help when you have like Trump coin launching and a whole bunch of momentum rolling into the Trump coin. And then we just have some trade news is like generally the crypto market is very bullish with the Trump admin being much, much more crypto friendly than the previous admin was. But it wasn't clear in the early days of the Biden administration how crypto unfriendly they were going to be, because they had, in fact, there were some major VCs that thought the Biden administration was going to be very pro crypto because that's what the Biden administration told them. So it really didn't set in how anti-crypto they were going to be for about a year to year and a half. And so there wasn't all this bearishness that the Biden admin was going to be very anti-crypto like they really end up being, using Gary Gensler to really push that anti-crypto agenda. So I don't know. I don't know why it's a little bit behind this time, other than that the Trump coin really scaring some people, and then just the trade wars being an excuse to really panic a bunch of people out before things run. But generally, before things run, there will be a stake in the ground, and then things will run. And so you see, like, there's usually some big fears before things run up massively, or it seems like nothing is ever going to happen, and that's not the case. So if we look way back here, there was a massive stake in the ground here. So it was trading, OMI was trading, I don't even know how many zeros that is, but a lot. And it went from 0.000046 to less than half that price here, and probably freaked a bunch of people out. That was October 21st. Then it popped up, got a little bullish, and went much higher. So it looked like it 5x, but then it came right back down and it traded sideways, freaking a lot of people out. And it wasn't until right at the beginning of February that it really started to take off, coming up just a little bit, back up to these highs, and then going absolutely berserk, going 3,000x from the bottom. And so this log scale really doesn't do it justice. When I flip it to this scale, then you can see what really happened here. All right. Yes, Illuvium has been hit really, really hard. I still think Illuvium is going to do really well. It's kind of like what happened with Akomi last cycle. Now, Illuvium probably isn't going to have 3,000x gains like Akomi did last cycle, but I expect Illuvium is going to do really well. So this is Illuvium, and when the metaverse plays hit, Illuvium did really well all the way through December, like November, December, topping out at almost $2,000. Even though it doesn't fully reflect it here, it went almost to $2,000, and then massively punished by the bear market. So Illuvium falls really well within the ones that I like that are between 2 to 6 years old. They're massively punished by token vesting and the bear market. So their token has been massively punished by token vesting in the bear markets at $32. Smart cap is 168 million, and where can something like this as market cap go? 5 billion, 10 billion, even 20 billion in the coming like blockchain gaming run. So massively undervalued now with lots of potential upside. I like their game. I think it's cool. I like that they tied Illuvium Zero and Illuvium Overworld, and then they have the other game too, and that they all work together. I think that's real good setup for some massive traction when the blockchain gaming narrative really takes off. And that might only be a month, 2 months away. Maybe it comes later. I don't know, but it might be fairly quickly from now. What's your thoughts on Aerodrome? Looking for some DEX plays that seem to be safe, a safe base play. Aerodrome. Don't have any Aerodrome. So safe plays, it's already gone from its bottom. Realize it's already 10x up. Now it has gone from $2, over $2, 220 down to 83 cents. So that's a pretty healthy dip. If we take log scale off and we drew out a chart, it's in line with the bottom of this trend line, or almost there, which is a pretty attractive price. Where can something like this go? Well, 5, 10, 20, or 50x from here. So 50x from here would take it to a $30 billion market cap. I think Base is going to be a major player in the future as far as chains. Otherwise, I wouldn't be so bullish on what this could do. I don't hold any Aerodrome. Its market cap is higher than I'd like to see for what I'm holding. I'd say more likely it's in for a 10 or 20x is the probable range I would give it. But good project. I just don't hold it. And I missed buying it way back here when it was really, really cheap and attractive. Is Bump a dead token? Bump is not a dead token, though it's at a risky time. It's at a very risky time. So now this is what buying when it's when there's blood in the streets look like, and there's absolute blood in the streets, and people are assuming that because the token price is absolutely savage that the company is dead. Now, when I last spoke to them about how much crypto reserves they had, it was about 9 months ago, and they said they had 2 years, not crypto reserves, but reserves to continue operations as a company. And it's not like operations for what they're doing. I don't see it as ongoing operations being very expensive. So all they have to do is survive till the DeFi run happens, and they'll probably get caught up in the DeFi run, even if they don't get major traction. So at this kind of price, they're extremely attractive, but realize it still is risky. Here's the reason. Number one, when a project or a company tells you something, it's not always completely true. Now, is it likely true? My guess is yes, that when they told me they had 2 years without raising any additional capital, they had 2 years runway that they could continue operations. Second thing that makes that risky is, well, what if something came up and they had to spend a lot more money than they were anticipating? That could exhaust those reserves early. And you've seen that sometimes projects do go out of business. Meld is a prime example. Meld tried to do their best to do a bunch of marketing to generate some traction prematurely so that they can make their community happen, and end up burning all their reserves, and they ran out of reserves, were not able to raise additional funds, and had to close their doors, like 4 weeks ago. And the DeFi run could only be a month away, which means, gosh, if they had just survived another 2 months, they would have easily been able to raise capital, and their token would have gone up, and everyone would have been happy, and yet they failed right before the bull run. Yeah, probably. And that does happen. When we're investing in crypto, realize you're really an early stage business investor, whether you realize it or not. And so that is the game that's going on here. And if you don't realize it, you're in an even worse position than you think. So if you realize that that's what it is, you can make more logical decisions. So is Bumper a great buy here? It's a great buy if they survive. I suspect that they do, but know that it's risky. So you can't put money in this that you cannot afford to lose. You can't put rent money into this because you don't know if it's going to rebound from here. Perhaps they burn a bunch of additional capital. They've even been slower to respond to me the last number of months, which I don't love. That doesn't mean that they're dead. I've had that happen with a number of companies in the past and they ended up surviving, but it's definitely a warning sign. So I think they're probably okay, but I can't say I know that. Will says it's stacking time. Illuvium still doesn't have a working game after 6 years. It is a working game. I don't know what you're talking about. I've played it. I play my Illuvium 0 every day. Illuvium Overworld, I didn't play Axie Infinity much either, even though I made a ton of money off Axie Infinity. It wasn't interesting to me enough. Illuvium Overworld is way more interesting, but I did a bunch of the early game, like the beta testing, because you could earn ILV tokens by playing. And secondly, it didn't really cost you anything. Now, I'll probably start harvesting some of my gas from my land that's getting built up and play some more of the game and capture more alluvials. I've been buying some alluvials for what I think is fairly cheap off of the secondary market, but the game is working, and you can play it. So, is it perfected? It's way farther ahead than what Axie Infinity was. Now, keep in mind, before blockchain gaming really ran, Axie Infinity was struggling. They were giving people Axies to play the game. I got 2 sets of Axies just for being in some Discord groups where they offered you some teams of Axies if you would just play the game, because they're trying to get people to play their game. So I got 2 sets of Axies 1 month, and then they did it again like a month or 2 later. And so I requested to get some Axies and got 2 sets. And later, those Axies were worth like $500 to $1,500 a piece. So it worked out. Fogue says, thanks for your answer. Cliche question. Do you think VV collectibles pump before OMI? I have some good collectibles I'm looking at selling on Stacker, but it's tough based on mint numbers, etc. I don't know which ones are going to run first. I haven't really taken the time to form an opinion on which one I think will run first. I think OMI is more undervalued than most of the collectibles. The collectibles that outperform OMI, I don't know which ones those will be for certain. So most of my bets the last year have gone into more OMI tokens rather than more collectibles. I have added to my my Darth Vader commons, mostly Darth Vader commons, Boba Fett commons. I like the Wolverine first appearance and then the second appearance of Wolverine, the collectible. They're really cool. I think those will do well. I like a lot of the comic books. And so when I have bought VV collectibles, that's where most of my new buys have gone. Just on floor items. I don't hunt the special mint numbers. Will the special mint numbers probably be worth a lot in the future? Yes. They'll be less liquid, but I think some of them will have tremendous value. That just isn't my play. There's other people that are more up to date on which ones might, and it's just a guess, which ones might outperform. And so that hasn't been my play. Cool. Any other questions? Look, there's blood in the streets right now. That's why I thought I'd do a live stream. A lot of people get panicked about this. Over the greater 4 to 8 year period, you can make absolute life-changing wealth through crypto investment. And usually it takes you 2 cycles that you're prepared for. So I know many of you have been with me for 3, a few of you 4 years. Many of you came in between 2 to 3 years ago. Some of you brand new. But hopefully you're well prepared for this bull run that I think we've yet to see the real big action of this bull run, that maybe Bitcoin's gone up and achieved over half of its increases going to this cycle. Unless we hit a super cycle, then Bitcoin will see even further increases from there. But a lot of these altcoins haven't realized their pump at all. Many are still down. Like OMI is a perfect example. Bumper is absolutely savage. And that comes a little bit later when the altcoins, the massive like alts with actual use case and utility really run. And it's not unusual for them to run later than this. That's usually the pattern. And so it's not time to be scared about that. It's still going to happen. Probabilities are with us, massively with us. It's okay. Like, this is a time when people freak out. Remember what everyone was saying about Solana when Solana went to $7. In fact, let's pull up the chart on that. Solana at $7. Who here wishes they could go back and buy Solana at $7? Well, yeah, everyone was saying Solana was dead then, that it was dead. It was not going to survive. Now, CoinGecko only shows it going to like $9 here. It did go cheaper than that. Went all the way to $7. Even CoinGecko kind of gives an average of some things over time, but it went down all the way into the $7 territory. And do you wish you could go back into December 30th, 2022 and buy Solana at $10? Yeah, it's up 20x from there. And the bull market hasn't even ended. Now, am I buying Solana now? No, it might top out at $400 or $600. Why would I be buying Solana at these prices? It's already realized 20x of its gain. So if it does another 3x from here, that's a 60x from the bottom. But if I'm buying it here, I only get 3x of that. That's not the risk I'm looking for. I'm looking for things with better upside potential from here. Now, some people are saying, oh, Solana's going to flip Bitcoin. It's like, nah, not really. I highly doubt it. Could. Probabilities are low that it flips Bitcoin. Probabilities are that it goes to a several $100 billion market cap, which is 2x or 3x, maybe 4x from here. But that's my guess at where it caps out. So that's not my play. I'm in riskier stuff like OMI, Bumper, a lot of low tokens. Devi's had a massive pullback to here. Many were looking for an opportunity to get Devi cheap, and they're scared. It's doing pretty good around this solid support right here. And so could it go cheaper? Yeah, if you're lucky, it goes even cheaper. I don't know that it'll go cheaper. The short-term pattern, I think it breaks further to the upside. Now, what does it do in like the next month and a half? I don't know. I do think it's going to break this by a little bit and go to its previous highs. Let's see if we can see those. That it goes up, maybe not to 220, but it hits up in this $2 price range. And then it might struggle with it. Maybe it breaks the upside of that. Maybe it comes back and retraces some more. But I do think at $1.20, it's a good deal. This is one of my largest positions in crypto is in Devi. So I'm a big fan of Devi. Yes, San, I like it. Grab Definity. So excited about this one. Got it. They recently did an AMA, which they have linked in Telegram that you can listen to. AMA was very bullish. What's going on with Definity behind the scenes? It's awesome. I'm really selective on strategic partners. So Definity and OneChain are my strategic partners. I really love both those projects. And they are substantively very, very deep projects. That's the kind of stuff I like. Another criteria for me to be able to say yes to a strategic partnership is they have to, in my opinion, be, I think, good value for my audience. And both of those fall into that. So really, really happy with Definity. Also happy with OneChain. So Definity's price is really, really cheap and absolutely punished. We can take a look at that. So it seems to be trading in this range, and it's right near the range bottom at 3.2 cents. And I like when I'm dollar cost averaging to buy along the range bottom. But notice this is getting narrower and narrower over time. I think this pops to the upside. So when it pops the upside, it can hit some big numbers pretty fast, going to 15 cents and then well above that, all the way up to 20 cents and above pretty quick. And 20 cents is about 6x from here. So Definity for the win. All right. Any further questions before we wrap up? Happy Red Day. This is part of crypto. People freak out. That's why there's so much money to be made on this. If you're not trading emotionally, because your emotions will get you to panic sell out at the bottom, or they'll get you to buy more at the top. That doesn't mean you have to turn off your emotions. I listen to my emotions all the time. I just don't do what my emotions are telling me to do because they lead me wrong almost every single time. Cool, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This wrap. All right, am I still bullish on VeChain? Do you see it can reach its all-time high or even higher? Great question, Neb. I haven't been following VeChain. I think they still survive this bull market. I haven't followed their price, but I'm mostly in riskier stuff than VeChain. So let me just share that price history on it. So I do think that they'll exceed their previous highs, but their market cap is so high. It's just not a play that I'm any longer interested in. Now, VeChain made me some good money during the bear market into this bull market. And I do think they're a substantive project. I'm just not playing the blue chip category. So if I was, maybe I'd be interested in VeChain. I haven't followed their news. I think they've made some partnerships that they are in a lot of supply chains. So I do think they'll be relative as money rolls into the crypto space. It's just not a play that I'm making right now. Even though in the past they made me a whole bunch of money. but you could see how cheap they were at 1 cent, going all the way up to 25 cents. And the risk is they're at 3.5 cents. You know, will they even go up to their previous highs? I would suggest probably. Will they break above them? I don't know that they will. I don't know. I just don't like the odds as much as a lot of other odds that I like. But good question, Nab. VeChain is one I covered a lot when my channel was brand new, and the timing was way back here in 2020, early 2021, and into the bull market. Cool. All right, everyone. This wrap, you know what it's all about. Enjoy the words. These words are specifically written really to reinforce the principles that make all the difference in long-term gains in crypto. Thank you so much.
Into the space, chasing all of the gains, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, shit, buy before you're good. Was told to buy when it was pouring like a rainmaker should. I buy when it's down, don't chase the boats that I miss. Cause I always made the time in mind. I take the one out cause I'm patient like that, and I'll wait for the right time. I sell when it's high, I buy when it's low. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm just a rainmaker running the show. Calculated investments, I don't leave with my heart. The principles are simple, they're leaving a mark. Why when it's boring, just gotta be smart. I sell when it's hype, like all the channels they pump it. That's when I was selling, got parabolic and dump it. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love, and I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Time is never better, the time like the present. This next 5 years is a gift and it's feeling like heaven. I'm committed to learn, to study and to know that nothing comes easy but with knowledge the game show. Sticking out this road, cause soon will come a bear market. Learning and growing, and when it's slow will be the target. They say it's come out, Bitcoin is dead. The massive decreases can get to your head. Sticking around, the time is better. Strong like that, I'll let the others be fretters. 2 years time, the bull will bring back the gains. That makes it worth the effort, cause here comes the rain. So let's go rainmakers, let's make it all happen. They go with the hate, let the haters be crapping. I'm here for 5 years, let's do this together. The time is right, the time could be better. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love, and I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Haters be hating, the time to slow down. Addressing what they say when I'm wearing my crown. They're chasing green candles like someone who was new. I got a vision that was bigger, helping me to push through. I'm still human and sometimes it is rough, and that's what makes me special, simply I stay tough. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love, and I follow what I learn, not relying on luck.